emotional elements. And hello, everybody. You are watching qualifying for the Rivalry Racing Cup Series. And unfortunately, I had a little sound glitch here. And we've tried to explain to you we're at Richmond Raceway. Let's check back here. This is the visual that explains to you how the playoffs work. And basically, the first round of playoffs we're in right now: Richmond, Indianapolis, and Talladega. After that, three drivers will be eliminated. A race win automatically promotes you for the next round. 5 playoff points for the winner, 1 playoff point for the stage win. Today's stage one ends on lap 80, which will pay 1 point for the leader. So I showed you the graphic for the guys that have been that are in the playoffs. Grant with 4 wins, Weishart with 2, Travis McDaniel with 2, and Chet Martin with 1, and Sean Cross with 1. And just to summarize here, the bracket for the playoffs, round one, we're here starting with round one in Richmond. Indianapolis, Talladega will conclude the first round, and then we'll lose the lowest scoring 3 drivers. We'll go into round two, Michigan, Chicago, and Phoenix. And then we'll lose another 3 drivers for the final 4 that'll duke it out in Texas. And the highest finishing of those 4 will be crowned the champion. So once again, apologize for the sound hiccup, but once again, the race format for tonight's race: the drivers are on a fixed setup, which means that they cannot really alter that much on the car except for the brake bias. They have 1 fast repair. For those of you unfamiliar with that, the drivers, when they have damage, they can go into the pit, and 1 fast repair gives them an instantaneously new car at that pit stop. And they only have 1 of those, so if they mess up after that, then unfortunately they will take longer time in the pits. If at all, it can be fixed. We've seen them do 2 qualifying laps, and as said, the race is 200 laps. Stage 1 will end on lap 80. If we're still green on lap 80, we will see a yellow at that point, and there will be extra points for the drivers, for the top 10 drivers in the stage 1. And for the playoffs, the leader at that point will pick up an extra point for the playoffs. So we're all set to go. We got a couple of minutes left before we start the race. The deck's been shuffled. It's Brad Suggs on the pole position in the 33 car. It's Garrett Grant that's going to be alongside him on row 1 in the 42 car. And on the second row inside, we will see Dave Weishart. We will see on the outside Jeff Hollingsworth in the 97. On the third row, we will see Travis McDaniel in the number 2 car. And on his outside will be the number 1 car of Todd Guess. The fourth row will be on the inside the 61 of Scott Olson. And the number 41 of Chet Martin will be on the outside of row 4. The fifth row, Sean Cross in the 83. On the inside, Nicholas Wing in the 12 on the outside. Then the sixth row will be James Dewar and Patrick Howard, respectively speaking, in the 77 and 89 car. And it looks like we'll have Ed Schweitzer and Chris Sadenfaden on the 7th row, and then Ron Holyfield on his own on the 8th row. They didn't post a time in qualifying. I'm not 100% sure if they're going to take the start, but they're entered in the race, so they're going to be in scoring. All right, we drivers are listening to the drivers meeting at this point. We have a couple more minutes, so let's take a quick look at a short word from sponsor Loud Pedal Productions. And we're back at Richmond Raceway awaiting the the gridding of the drivers. 3/4 of a mile track, D-shaped oval. The pit lane speed limit will be 40 miles an hour. The pace speed will be 50 miles an hour. And in between there, it's all systems go, pedal to the metal, and go as fast as you can. It's a fairly short track compared to the other venues that these guys are racing on. They're a little bit more used to the bigger ovals. As we just saw, the next week will be Indianapolis, the famous Indianapolis Motor Speedway with its 4 turns and short chutes between the turns. And then after that, it'll be Talladega, where it's all out drafting and working together. And this is quite a different kind of track. They have to get off the gas. Some drivers will trail brake a little bit to get into turns. It's only 3/4 of a mile. The speeds are a lot lower, but it doesn't make it any easier to control these cars. They're still very powerful and somewhat heavy race cars, and it's not easy to control them out of these short turns. I've been watching the practice a little bit, and there were some drivers that coming off the turns, they had a little bit of trouble controlling the throttle, and when you're a little bit too enthusiastic on that right pedal, you might see some guys swinging around, and whatever happens with the guys that are behind that, it's always a little hard to tell. It's very difficult once you get in these trouble spots. You can't really slam on the brakes on these cars and at these speeds. So, because that'll cause you to just head straight to the wall. All right, looks like we're going to get started here. Since it's a short track, it might be 2 laps to green. The graphic does not show that. I'm aware of that, but that's just the computer. So the cars are gridding up. We're looking at the 97 of Jeff Hollingsworth in 4th position. Ron Holyfield taking the grid in 14th position, so he is going to be here. Glad to see that. And it's Todd Guess in the number 1 car. Brad Suggs in the 33. And he's on the provisional pole on the pole position here, and on his outside, it's Grant. Following closely, David Weishart in the 4. Then it's Hollingsworth alongside the number 4 car. And we are indeed doing 2 warm-up laps here before we get this show on the road. For some reason, my scoring is not really showing what's going on here. Let's see what happens once they get the green flag. On the backstretch now, field lining up side by side. There's a little bit of a gap there in the middle of the field. It looks like they're closing in on it now. And pace car is coming down, and it'll be up to Brad Suggs to start this race. Green flag. And there we go. It's Brad Suggs. Alongside him, the 42 car. And unfortunately, I'm having an issue with my scoring system here. It's Grant taking away the lead now on the first lap. It's Suggs in 2nd position, Hollingsworth in 3rd, and Weishart in 4th. And they're bringing that stuff around very nicely here. We're looking at Brad Suggs Oh, we have a caution. Let's see if we can quickly figure out what's going on. It's the number 4 car of Weishart that turns himself around, and like I was saying, a little bit too quickly maybe on the throttle. He turns himself around. He doesn't hit anything, and it looks like everybody got through unscathed. So fortunately, they can keep going. It's Grant in the first position, Garrett Grant in the 42 car. And then in second place, we have Suggs in the 33, Brett Suggs in the 33. It's Hollingswood in third. It's Guess in fourth. McDaniel in fifth. It's Martin in sixth. Olesen in seventh. And Wing in eighth. Dewar in ninth. And Holyfield rounds out your top 10. So luckily, Weishart got away with that. He's in the back of the pack. He's catching up to him now. It looks like he doesn't have any damage, and it looks like everybody was able to avoid him. So lucky for him there. Meanwhile, I am trying to find out if I can get that scoring stuff here to work. It doesn't look like it's working. But we'll get by here. Yeah, I'm sorry I can't get my scoring to work here, but we'll make do with what we see on screen together with you. It looks like Seiden Faden, I hope I pronounce it right, took a pit stop really quickly, and the same for Weishart. He did take a pit stop, probably took some new tires there. And Dewar, same thing. He is in the pits currently. Let's see if we can find him. Yep, he's taking a pit stop right here. Joining back up. Of course, under yellow, they're not going to lose a lap, so that'll work out just fine for them. All right, and it looks like we're back on the main straight. We should be getting the 1 to go sign here. There we go. It's Grant in first. It's Suggs in second. Hollingsworth in third, and Guess in fourth. Well, let's bring him back around. And it looks like Dave Weishart there in the back end. He had to wait on Dewar. So let's bring it back up to the front here. Garrett Grant. Guys are getting ready to go. Pace cars in. Let's get this party rolling once again. There we go. Garrett Grant has a jump on Suggs there for a little bit, and it looks like we have Guess in third position. Let's take a look at him. Todd Guess fighting there behind Suggs in third position. The 97 in fourth. That's Jeff Hollingsworth right there. Then it's Travis McDavis. Travis McDaniel, I apologize. He is currently running in the fifth position. So let's bring it up here to Grant. He seems to be fairly in control. He's got Suggs running right behind him. They're running single file. It's probably too early for any of them to be taking big chances. We've already seen Weishart spin around, so I'm guessing they're trying to get in their groove, trying to warm up all the tires. I saw a little bit of smoke somewhere. See if we can see what's going on. Don't see any trouble right now. It's the 42 still in the lead. Oh, and it looks like they're coming back up on that's Patrick Howard. Maybe he's had an issue. Yeah, it looks he's got a little bit of damage there, so they're going to be lapping him pretty soon. And and it's Suggs now on the outside of Grant, going for the lead. He's still side by side on the backstretch. Oh, and he hits the wall there a little bit, and it looks like Guess can benefit from that. And the number 1 car comes alongside on the inside and takes the second position away from him. Suggs now in third. It's Grant still in the lead here. And it looks like Hollingsworth is trying to benefit from that as well. He's trying to get to the inside of Suggs, trying to get that third position away from him. And McDaniel following there. It looks like these 4 drivers are kind of sticking together. McDaniel now coming down to the inside of Hollingsworth, and he takes away that position. Good pass into the first 2 turns. And still Garrett out in front. He's got a couple of car lengths on Suggs now, on Todd Guess. And Suggs in third position. McDaniel now in fourth. Travis McDaniel clinging to that rear end of Suggs, and it looks like that Hollingsworth is losing out a little bit. He's kind of running by himself back here in the 5th position in the 97 car. And then it's Olsen. Let me see if we can find Olsen in the 61. He is a little bit behind Hollingsworth, and Olsen has a little bit of margin on Chad Martin here. Let's go bring her back up to the front. Garrett Grant, and would you believe it, my scoring is back up. I love it. So Todd Guess in second position, Brad Suggs and Travis McDaniel. That's the lead group of 4 cars. Jeff Hollingsworth is trying to catch up with these guys. It looks like they're coming back together again a little bit. Olsen in 6th. He's kind of by himself. There he is. And then it's Chet Martin in the 41. And he's got Nicholas Wing right behind him in the number 12 Tide car. David Weishart is already working his way back through the field. He has already worked his way up to 9th position in the number 4 car. Looking to catch Nicholas Wing now. Behind him it's Ron Hollifeld in the number 90 car. It's James Durr. He's sticking with it pretty good. Chris Seidenfaden in the number 15, and then it's Sean Cross in 13th. He's further back a little bit. Patrick Howard has been lapped by the leaders. He's got some damage on the front end, and it looks like Ed Schweitzer is not running at this point. Let's go back up to the front. It's Garrett Grant in the 42 car, being followed by Guess, Suggs, and McDaniel, and it looks like Suggs, it looked like he hit the wall, and it's Travis McDaniel now going to the inside. I think he shrugged the wall there a little bit. We can see if we can take a look back here just really quickly. Yeah, Brett Suggs seems to be dropping down a little bit now. And did he actually touch that wall? It's hard to tell. It looks like they actually touched cars there. So let's go back live here. We got the Travis now in 3rd position, actually, and he passed Jeff Hollingsworth as well. So Travis McDaniel looks like he is a man on the move. He's got a mission. And it's Todd Guess that seems to be reeling Grant in somewhat. He's not quite there yet, about 2 car lengths behind. And he's got about a second on Travis McDaniel, who is now in front of Hollingsworth and Suggs. And let's take a look. It's Olsen a little bit further back. So Suggs is basically closing down that little group of 3 here. Travis McDaniel looks pretty solid. He seems to be pulling away from Hollingsworth a little bit. Garrett Grant still in the lead. It's Todd Guess in 2nd position. And that's your distance right there. It's about 3-4 car lengths maybe. And let's take a look further back. Travis McDaniel is trying hard to reel those leaders in. He's got a good couple of car lengths on the 97 of Hollingsworth. So it's turning out that first yellow was, I guess, a little bit of a hiccup at the front of the race, but it looks like they got things under control. The tires are warmed up. They found their groove. They'll be laying down some rubber in that groove. Then the longer we run on the green, the better that rubber will build up and the more grip these guys will have. So let's take a look back further here. We've got Nicholas Wing in 9th position, chasing down Chet Martin in the 41 car. They're pretty close together here. And right behind them, it's Ron Hollefeld. And we have the number 15 of Saden Faden here, dropping back a little bit from those guys. Dewar on his own, Sean Cross on the 83, and he's kind of by himself as well. Let's bring it back up to the front. It's Garrett Grant still in the lead. Todd Guess, it looks like he's losing a little bit of ground there, and Travis McDaniel looks like he's reeling in Todd Guess. So we might see a battle for second position developing here. Jeff Hollingsworth trying to stay with it. He's dropping back a few car lengths, but it looks like he's got good pace as well. Brad Suggs hanging in there as the last guy in this little group here. He's got about a second, almost 2 seconds on David Weishart. That means that Weishart has been progressing quite a bit. He's passed Scott Olson and Nicholas Wing, and he is already up to 6th position. So despite his little hiccup in the beginning of the race, he means business. He's not given up whatsoever. He's got the same pace as Brett Suggs at this point. They're both running 22.7, 22.6 laps. So he's gaining a little bit, but not by much. So let's take a look up here at the front. It's Todd Guess now coming under attack of Travis McDaniel. And Travis is definitely blowing by there, taking the second position away from him. Very good move, very solid. It looked like he has very much confidence in the grip levels of his car. So Travis McDaniel now in second position, trying to pull some distance on Todd Guess already. And he might be reeling in Garrett Grant. It looks like he is, because the distance is dropping down rapidly from 1.3 seconds all the way down to 1.2, and he had a little bit less than that even a few moments ago. So yeah, Garrett Grant is not secure. Garrett now dealing with back markers. It looks like the 83 of Sean Cross is getting a lap from the leader here. Travis McDaniel will have the same problem. He'll have to work his way around Sean Cross there. Todd Guess is dropping back a little bit when you look at it from McDaniel's point of view. There's about probably 4 car lengths in between there. Hollingsworth is hanging on to Guess's rear end here fairly good. Suggs still hanging in there, and then it's Weishart about 1.2 seconds behind Suggs. He's got pretty much the same pace. They both ran a 22.9 as a last lap, so he's not gaining quickly, that's for sure. 42 of Garrett Grant in the lead. It looks like he's got stuff under control at this point. Coming down the main straightaway, and we're starting lap 34 of 200. We're almost halfway into the stage. Travis McDaniel following in second position. Looking very strong. Todd Guess in third in the number 1 car, and it looks like Hollingsworth is closing in on Todd Guess there. It's only 0.2 of a second at this moment, and Brett Suggs in 5th position. He is hanging with those guys, trying to make up for lost time, obviously. And it now looks like David Weishart has passed Sean Cross, put a lap on him, and he is gaining on Brett Suggs as well. It's now under 1 second, so we'll need to keep an eye on Weishart in the number 4 car. The 89 of Patrick Howard damaged already, and it looks like Weishart's going to go to the outside of him, put a lap on him. The 89 staying low, giving the faster guys room to race. And let's go take a look at Travis McDaniel. It looks like he's dropping back from Garrett Grant a little bit now. It's about a second and a half, and on a track like this, that is actually quite a bit. So Travis McDaniel in second. You're looking at Grant in first. And in third place, we have Todd Guess. And Todd is now definitely coming under big threat of Jeff Hollingsworth. Jeff Hollingsworth on the inside takes that third position away from him. They're side by side on the backstretch, but it looks like Jeff's got that covered. And it looks like Brad Suggs is trying to come with Hollingsworth on the inside there, staying low to the number one. He takes the position going into turn one. So it looks like Todd Guess may be demanded a little bit too much from his tires there on the first part of this stint. Still on green flag racing, lap 40 as we speak, halfway into the stage. The 97 of Hollingsworth in third position. It's Suggs now back up into fourth position. Todd Guess is in fifth. And look who's coming behind him. It's David Weishart. He has worked his way through the field from an early spin, and he is now in sixth position, putting pressure on Todd Guess for the fifth position. So let's stick with these guys here for a moment. Down the main straight, going into turn one. The number 4 diving low, and Todd Guess has probably already seen him coming, and he knows that the fresher tires of Weishart might be an issue for him. Weishart takes fifth position. Todd Guess tugs in right behind there. Maybe he can stay with him and catch a little bit of the draft. Weishart now going after Brad Suggs in fourth position, and he's got about a second to make up first, so that'll take him a little bit for sure. Let's go check on our leader here, Garrett Grant, into 42, starting lap 44. And he's got about 1.7 seconds on Travis McDaniel. And if you look at the wide angle here, you can see that that is quite a distance at this point. So Jeff Hollingsworth, he is in third, about a second and a half behind Travis. Then it's Brad Suggs in fourth. And it looks like Brad Suggs has picked up that position from Weishart. I'm sorry, no. Weishart passed Todd Guess. I'm getting mixed up here. So Suggs, it looks actually like Dave Weishart is closing in on Brett Suggs. The distance, the gap is now about a half a second, so he's definitely closing in. It looks like Dave Weishart's got a good car. He's got good grip. He knows what he's doing here, and he's closing in on Suggs. And he's I'm not sure if he's the fastest guy on the track at all, but he is running similar laps to Suggs. Last lap for Brett Suggs was a 23.3. Last lap for Dave Weishart was a 23.1. So he's gaining about 0.2 of a second here. The best lap at this point for anybody is Brett Suggs. He ran a 22.0 earlier on in the race. But it looks like we're, after 47, 48 laps, it looks like those tires are going to be showing some wear, and it's going to be about tire management. We might see some green flag pit stops if they keep it going. That's always interesting. And the number 4 wiggling a little bit there. Looks like he's not running as low as he intended to. And he's nibbling off of that gap a little bit at the time. It's now 0.3 of a second. Brad Suggs is definitely going to be watching his mirrors and keeping a close eye on the moves that David is pulling there. And meanwhile, it looks like Travis McDaniel has made a little bit of progress of reeling Garrett Grant in. It's still about a second and a half. It fluctuates a little bit. Hollingsworth is about 1.1 second behind McDaniel. Brad Suggs, and he's in fourth, dealing with Dave Weishart. And further back, it's Todd Guess. He's not been able to stay with Weishart. He's about 2.6 seconds down. The car behind him is Patrick Howard. He's a lap down. And in 7th position, it's Olsen. And then we see Chris Faden in 8th position, 3 seconds down. Holyfeld in 9th, and Nicholas Wing in 10th position. Jed Martin has dropped down. He may have had an issue that we missed. He's being shown in 12th position, and he's a lap down from the leaders. And that's because Garrett Grant just put that lap on him. And let's go back up to the 3rd position. And we missed something here. Dave Weishart has passed Brad Suggs. Let's see if we can find it in a replay really quick. There we go. We'll put it back a little bit further. It's the number 4 going underneath Brad Suggs, number 33 car, down the backstretch, side by side. And David Weishart takes that position away from him. He is currently running in 4th position now. We're back live here. There you see it. He's pulling away from Suggs a little bit already. He is now less than a second behind Jeff Hollingsworth. So next victim coming up is the 97 here. And it looks like Weishart is running, about 3-4 tenths of a second quicker in these current laps here. Hollingsworth doing a 23.2. It's Weishart doing a 23.1. So, he's reeling him in little by little. The 41 is a back marker. That's Chet Martin. The 4 is going to go underneath. Martin stays high, lets those guys race for position. Brad Suggs now behind the 41 car, trying to do the same thing. Obviously, trying not to lose contact with Weishart, but it's about a little over half a second right now. And Weishart closing in definitely on Jeff Hollingsworth. He wants that 3rd position. As I said, early incident, he got on the gas a little bit too eagerly, spun it around, didn't hit anything, went in for new tires, started from the back after the yellow, and he has worked his way back up to the front of the field, currently in 4th position, chasing down Jeff Hollingsworth in the 97 car. And let's see what's going on, and it looks like Hollingsworth is actually... it looked a little bit like he was letting him go. Maybe he missed his exit there a little bit. But it's Weishart taking over 3rd position now. Fairly easy, it looked like. Hollingsworth might be battling with tires and tire wear that he kind of just figured, better be safe than sorry. I don't want to end up in the wall, and you can't blame him. But now it looks like he's trying to stay with Weishart. So I'm not sure why that happened, but maybe we'll get a chance to ask him at some point. It's definitely Weishart having the better of him right now. He's in 3rd position, about a little over a second behind Travis McDaniel in 2nd place. So let's take a look back up here at the front. It's Garrett Grant in the 42 car, still running in the lead. He's got a good distance now on Travis McDaniel. 2.6 seconds is a little hard to tell, but in these wide angles you can see on the left of your screen, that's the leader going out of the picture, and in the center of your screen, that's Travis McDaniel in the number 2 car. 2.6 seconds behind the leader. And Weishart is doing his best to close the gap to McDaniel, and that is currently under 1 second, right around 1 second. Travis's last lap was at 23.4. David's last lap was at 23.2. So it looks like Weishart is a little bit quicker at this point. It's too long ago for those tires to be that much better than Travis McDaniel's. Even though David did get some new tires after that spin, but we've already got 61 laps on those tires. So. I don't think the difference will be that big. Track's probably rubbering in pretty good, and drivers are starting to feel pretty comfortable where they're at. Let's take a look back here. Brad Suggs is still in 5th. He's less than a second behind Hollingsworth, and Hollingsworth is less than a second behind Weishart. So we're looking at 3rd position, Weishart in UPS car number 4. He is gaining on Travis McDaniel. You can see that here in this shot. Travis McDaniel in the number 2. He will have David Weishart to deal with fairly quickly, I would say. It's about a half a second at this point. So let's keep an eye here on McDaniel and Weishart. There they are. And number 4 definitely closing in on the number 2, that's for sure. And meanwhile, Garrett Grant is basically slowly walking away from him. In almost any form of racing, it is true that if you're battling with somebody else, you're slowing the both of you down. So it might be an idea for these guys to kind of go nose to tail and start working together and see if they can reel in Garrett Grant. And then after they all get back together, then they can duke it out and see what else is up. That might be a tactic to go. But it looks like Travis McDaniel and David Weishart closer together now. It's less than a quarter of a second, and let's see what David's going to do here. Very low by the yellow line on the backstretch, catching a little bit of that draft, although the draft is not as strong obviously as on the bigger tracks. We're not going fast enough for a huge draft, and then it looks like David has to let Travis go a little bit. It looks like he's a little bit better in turn 1 and 2. And then out of the second turn, it looks like Travis gets a little bit of a jump on him into 3 and 4. But now it's David closing in 3 and 4. So on the main straights, let's see what he can do. They're both looking very solid. They're not wiggling around. They're not sliding. And it's Weishart trying to take a lower line. And McDaniel defending here. They're coming up on a back marker. And that would be... Oh, and there the Ford just dives underneath that number 2. Oh, man, I want to see that again. He just comes off the backstretch. He dives underneath that 2 and takes that position away from him. And it makes it look extremely easy. I'm not sure if the 2 had a little problem. And the 42 has been turned around. It's Garrett Grant, our leader. Let's see what happened here. And we're not getting a yellow. That is somewhat surprising as well. Let's see what happens. It's Garrett Grant. He was running in the lead. He is coming up on turn 1 and 2, and it looks like he just loses it on his own. Turns it around, almost saves it there, and then he gets on the apron and that throws him off. So he's back in 6th position now. There he is. He didn't hit anything, but maybe those tires are playing a part as we speak. So that puts David Weishart back in the lead and Travis McDaniel in 2nd, and that's pretty amazing. Weishart had an early spin on one of the first few laps, caused a yellow. He turned himself around, got into the pits, got new tires, had to start from the back, and he has worked himself up all the way to the front here. That is pretty amazing. That is some skill. I can tell you that. That's awesome. So Travis McDaniel's trying to hang in there. Ooh, he gets a little sideways as well. Catches it, though. I'm sure those tires are starting to be a factor for the drivers at this point. Lap 72 is getting started as we speak. We are only 10 laps away from the Stage 1 caution on lap 80, and I'm sure the guys will use that to pit if they don't have to do so before that. Travis McDaniel really loose coming off that turn there, wiggling that car around. Back on the main straight, looks like he's doing a little bit better here, but he has trouble keeping up with Dave Weishart's pace. He's about a second behind Weishart at this point. Jeff Hollingswood is holding on in 3rd position in the 97 car. Brad Suggs is holding on in 4th position in the number 33. And then it's Todd Guess in the number 1 car in 5th position. Garrett Grant in 6th position now. He's trying to make up for lost time after that spin. He really got caught out probably just by the tire wear. We'll have to ask him if we get a chance. Dave Weishart in the lead. Going to be starting lap 75. Travis McDaniel is really in trouble now. He's losing a little bit of time every lap. He's now 1.3 seconds behind Weishart. And he's got it under control fairly good, but he's probably decided to better be safe than sorry and keep it on the track. He knows there's a yellow coming. Lap 80 will have the yellow for the end of Stage 1, and he'll probably take advantage of that. It looks like Jeff Hollingsworth is gaining a little bit on McDaniel, and that's less than a second. It's pretty much a half a second right now. And it looks like Brad Suggs is about 1.7 seconds behind Hollingsworth. And then there's a bigger gap to the number 5, the fifth place car, Todd Guess in the number 1. He is 8 seconds behind Brad Suggs. So let's find Garrett Grant. Garrett Grant is coming up on the back of Todd Guess. Garrett is running in 6th position after his little spin. He's closing in on Guess now. Guess is having trouble getting the power down. And a 42's diving to the inside, takes away that 5th position from him. The number 1 car still on the high side there, but it looks like Garrett Grant has got it under control. Oh, and the number 1 car, he is in trouble, and he loses the position to Chris Seidenfaden as well. He was wiggling really bad there. It looks like those tires on that car are shot. Let's go check on Dave Weishart here. Worked his way all the way back to the front, still in the lead. He's got 2 seconds on Jeff Hollingsworth. Jeff Hollingsworth is actually past Travis McDaniel, is now dropped back to 4th. Let's see what happened to Travis here. We have to take a look at that. And it looks like Travis is, he almost catches it, but the back end comes around. Unfortunate for him. He noses it into the wall, turns it back around. He's got some damage, but it doesn't look like it's too bad. We've got a yellow. We're on lap 80. I'm sure we're going to be seeing some pit stops here. Dave Weishart slowing down behind the pace car. So Weishart will pick up that 1 point for the stage 1 win in the playoffs. And yes, they're all coming into the pits here. Lap drivers will be pitting a lap later. The number 4 of Weishart coming in. 97 of Hollingsworth coming in. It's Brad Suggs right behind him. And Grant coming in. Travis catching up with the back end of the pack. He lost some time there. And I see Hollingsworth is in the pit. Todd Guess is in the pit. He'll be happy because his tires were completely gone. Scott Olson. So let's go and check on Weishart here. He'll be coming out. And it looks like because Travis McDaniel hasn't been into the pits yet, it looks like he picks up the lead for now. But obviously, I'm sure he's going to want new tires just the same. Yeah, he's already been in the pit. Travis McDaniel, we must have missed him going in. No, I'm sorry. He is coming in now. He's coming in on lap 81. So, yeah, he's coming in now, and that hands the lead back to David Weishart. I apologize for that. It looked for a moment like he had already pitted, but he did not. The number 12 car of Nicholas Wing, he'll soon be getting the wave around when we have the one lap to green signal. It's David Weishart in the lead. It's Jeff Hollingsworth in 2nd. It's Brad Suggs in 3rd now. Garrett Grant already up to the 4th position. Chris Seidenfaden is in 5th position in the number 15 car. Todd Guess in 6th. That yellow came at pretty much the right moment for him. Scott Olson is in 7th. Travis McDaniel back in 8th now after his spin and pit stop. Ron Hollifeld coming into the pits as we speak. And then it's James Durr in 10th position. All right, we have a moment to catch our breath here, definitely. Let's take a look at a little word from our sponsors. And it looks like we got the signal for one lap to green. David Weishart, and alongside him on the outside is Jeff Hollingsworth. They're leading the pack. Cars are lining up. Double file. Coming down turn 1 and 2. And Brad Suggs and Garrett Grant behind there. It's Seidenfaden and Guess in the third row. And it looks like we're getting ready to go. Fresh tires, they're all fueled up. We'll be able to probably do another 80 laps or so. It's been a good race so far. 2 yellows, one for this man here, the number 4, and one for Travis McDaniel. And David is hitting the throttle early. He gets a little jump. It looks like Brad Suggs is picking up second position here. It looks like Hollingsworth lucked out a little bit on that outside line. Ooh, I can't keep up with all of this. It's Garrett Grant now diving to the inside of Hollingsworth, trying to stick that nose underneath there, but Hollingsworth still got the position. Ooh, and then the 42 has a little slide coming off the corner. Now having to worry about Todd Gass. Weishart still in the lead. Suggs in second. Hollingsworth fourth. Todd Gass is picked up fourth position now. Garrett Grant in fifth. And Seidenfaden in sixth. Fourth position being followed by Garrett Grant. And it looks like they're about a half a second behind Hollingsworth. Ooh, and right behind there, it's Garrett Grant. It was Olsen and Seidenfaden. Almost looked like they were getting back together. They were getting together on the exit of that turn there. They're side by side now going into the first turn. And it looks like the 61 has taken that position back from the number 15. Garrett Grant chasing down Todd Gass. Travis McDaniel currently running in 9th, so he has to work his way through the field, and it's not like we've seen that never before. David Weishart did it, and it looks like Garrett Grant is doing it. He is having a little trouble, it looks like, to keep up with Todd Gass. Everybody on fresh tires, everybody getting the heat in those tires, everybody on a full tank of fuel, so it'll be a little bit before they start seeing some differences between those cars. And it's all about being smooth, and the driver that can save those tires the longest will be in the advantage further down the stint. It looks like Olsen closing in on Grant there, and Seidenfaden closing in on Olsen on his turn, and Holyfield sticking with those guys very, very good. Travis McDaniel in 9th place on the tail end of this little group here. And it looks like James Durer is a little bit further back. Let's go back up front because there's action up front. It's actually Suggs taking the lead from Weishart here. Let's go back in the replay. He's coming into turn 1, sticking it underneath there, and he's definitely making that stick. Back live, it looks like Suggs got it under control, coming down the back straight. David Weishart in second, Jeff Hollingsworth in third. We might have a nice little battle brewing here. Suggs in the lead in the 33 car, Weishart in second. Had the lead there for a little bit, but Suggs got the better of him. Hollingsworth staying with these guys in third position, right behind Weishart, and then a little bit further back, it looks like Todd Gass has lost some ground on the leaders. Garrett Grant is still behind Todd Gass. Olsen and Seidenfaden behind there. Travis McDaniel still behind Holyfield. Let's go back up here to the front and see what's happening here. Everything's happening fast. It's easy to miss something. The 33 running a little bit higher line there. And the number 4 cannot take advantage of that right now. It looks like Brett Suggs has got a good car since that pit stop. And he's got this under control at this point. Let's see how he can do and keep up with that. And we're looking here at Garrett Grant closing in on. He's been passed by Olsen there, and it looks like Seidenfaden is closing in on him as well. Not really sure what's happening. Maybe that he's got a little bit of damage somewhere. I don't see any. Let's go back up here to Weishart and Suggs and Hollingsworth for the lead. Hollingsworth closing in on Weishart, it looks like. Weishart keeping that car low, very low, and it looks like Suggs is trying to see if he can do better in the higher line. It gives you a little bit more momentum coming off the turns. Now he's going low just like the other guys. Ooh, hugging that yellow line, that can be a little bit tricky. It can upset the handling of the car if you get two wheels on the apron. We've seen that before. Now it's the 4 going low. It's the 33 staying high. Let's see if Weishart can pick up that lead. No, not yet. And Hollingsworth looks like he's just kind of hanging back a little bit and seeing and waiting what develops here. And he's sticking with Weishart. Very good. Weishart low again, and it Suggs a little bit higher in that second groove. And it seems to be working for him. I'm not sure if it's entirely voluntarily that he's staying that high in those turns. And down here in 1 and 2, he's trying to stay low. Let's see what he does now in 3 and 4. And now it's the 4 sticking that nose underneath there. Brad Suggs in the middle groove. He does come off of that turn pretty good, I will say. So it's not like he's not doing that on purpose. I don't know. It looks to me like he's choosing the higher side coming off of 3 and 4 there. Weishart trying again, getting underneath. And it looks like the 33 is trying to pinch him down just a little bit, but he's not close. David's not close enough to make anything work just yet. And it looks like Travis McDaniel's made up some ground. He's past Seidenfaden and Holyfeld. He's now in 7th position. Garrett Grant is still behind Olsen. And he's got Travis McDaniel to worry about there for 6th and 7th position. Looks like Travis is coming back fairly strong after that pit stop and that little mistake, turning it around on lap 79. Let's go back up front here to Suggs and Weishart. Suggs running a little high again. He seems to be doing that in 3 and 4. And then in turn 1 and 2, he tries to keep it a little bit lower. And it doesn't give David Weishart an opportunity just yet to pass him. Let's take a look here from the Weishart machine going into 3 or 4. Looks like he's going down underneath. Let's see. We can't really see that. Suggs is still hanging on to that lead there. He's got a little bit better momentum coming off the turn in 3. And then in 1 and 2, he stays low. So I find that interesting. For some reason, he feels like he's doing better high here in 3 and 4. Now it's the 4 coming underneath him. And it's still the 33 that comes off of that turn a little bit better. And then brings it back low in 1 and 2. Interesting lines there for Brad Suggs. We're talking lap of 105. We have just passed the halfway mark here. And good battle here up front. Brad Suggs hanging on to that lead. David Weishart worked his way through the field, fighting for the lead now. Jeff Hollingsworth hanging in there in 3rd position. And I think he's kind of watching and waiting patiently to see what develops up front. We still have a long ways to go. In 4th position, further back, we have Todd Guess. In 5th, we have Scott Olsen. And then it's Travis McDaniel that has passed Garrett Grant. And Ron Holyfield has also passed Garrett Grant. It looks like Grant, after a very strong start, seems to be struggling a little bit more now. He is in 8th position, and he hasn't made that much progress. And we're looking up front here. Let's back that up and see what's going on. Back it up a little bit more. It's Dave Weishart going underneath. Brad Suggs here. Down the backstretch, side by side. This is where Suggs stays high, and it looks like he's losing out a little bit on the 4 now. The 4 takes the lead coming off. Oh, almost loses it. Slides sideways, still side by side into turn 1. And then he picks up the lead in turn 1. And let's go back out live now, and Dave Weishart looks like he's got a couple of car lengths on Suggs now. The 89 of Howard getting out of the way, giving them room to race. And Hollingsworth hanging in there in third position behind Suggs. This is a pretty awesome battle going on at the lead here. Now it looks like David Weishart finally has passed Suggs and looks like he's a little bit quicker, pulling a couple of car lengths away, about a half a second lead now. Coming into 3 and 4. And now it looks like Suggs is trying that lower line as well. And they're stretched out. The gaps are a little bit bigger than they were, but it looks like Suggs is still running a pretty good pace. And Hollingsworth staying with him. Sparks flying. Sheet metal rubbing on the ground every now and again. Hollingsworth in third. Let's take a look here further back in the field. Holyfeld is right behind Scott Olson, and that's the fight for 6th and 7th position. And it looks like Garrett Grant is now passing Holyfeld, taking the 7th position away from him. And it's his turn to go after Scott Olson. And let's see where Travis McDaniel made up some ground. He now is in 5th position, chasing after Todd Guess. So he's passed Olson as well. And Grant is finally getting the hang of it again. He's getting in that groove again. He passed Holyfeld. So he's now in 7th position. Back up front, it's David Weishart in the number 4 car, still in the lead. Brad Suggs in the 2nd position. Ooh, it looks like he's scraping the wall there. Let's see if we can determine if it's really the wall. He's blowing up some sparks. Oh, it could be the sheet metal just rubbing on the tires or on the ground. I don't know. The cars may be fairly low here. So Weishart's still in front. He's over a second away from him now. It's Suggs and Hollingsworth for 2nd and 3rd position now. Fairly close together. And Todd Guess is about 2.9 seconds behind those guys. Travis McDaniel 1.4 seconds behind Guess, and it looks to me like he's closing in. He's about 0.2 of a second quicker in the last lap, so it looks to me like Travis McDaniel found his groove again and trying to make up for lost time. Garrett Grant now in 6th position, following about 2.3 seconds behind McDaniel, and Holyfield and Olson are behind Grant. Fairly close together. Oh, and it looked like Olson had a little bit of a moment there. And back up front, it's Weishart dealing with the lapped cars now. He's coming up on Chet Martin in 41, going to the inside. Martin stays high, and that's good sportsmanship. I think it's a good thing for the lapped cars not to be interfering in any battles and making life hard for the leaders. It's not necessary. If you're a lap behind and you're over halfway into a race like this, you're not going to make that up anyway. So Weishart dealing with traffic, and those drivers are dealing with it very well for him. Brett Suggs in 2nd position. He'll be coming up on the 41 of Chet Martin himself. And it looks like Hollingsworth is dropping back. It stays around that 5/10 of a second. Half a second behind it. That's not over. Hollingsworth might be just being a little patient and waiting to see what he can make happen a little bit further down the road. We're going to be starting on lap 120 as Dave Weishart passes the line, going into turn 1 and 2. And let's see how Travis McDaniel is hanging on here. It looks like he's gaining on Todd Guess. He's about, like I said, 0.2 of a second per lap quicker than Todd Guess, so he's gaining on him. And 2.4 seconds behind McDaniel, it's Grant now in 6th position in the 42 car. And Ron Holyfield in the 90 car is about 2 seconds behind Grant. Olson is about 2 seconds behind Holyfield, and Seidenfaden further back. James Dewar, and then we have the lap cars of Nicholas Wing in the number 12 car. Chet Martin, we saw that he was getting lapped by the leader. And then Patrick Howard in the 89 hanging on there. He's being shown 7 laps down, but he's soldiering on. Let's go back up to the front here and quickly double check something. And it looks like Dave Weishart has got stuff back under control now. As said, he had to come back from the back of the pack early on in the race. He made a little mistake. And Brad Suggs in second place is now a little over 2 seconds behind him. Guys are all dealing with traffic now. That's obviously not going to help their ambition to pursue the leader. And Hollingsworth still about a second behind Suggs, also dealing with the lap traffic. And it looks like Travis McDaniel has caught up to Todd Guess here. He's right behind him. He's going to be diving to the inside in 3 and 4, trying to make that work. And it looks like he's getting alongside, coming off turn 4, side by side on the main straightaway into turn 1. And it looks like Travis McDaniel picks up 4th position here from Todd Guess. He's running very strong, working his way back up after an earlier spin. So looking good right now, looking good. And it's Garrett Grant. He's about 2 seconds behind these guys. So he's making up a little bit of ground, but not as quickly as he would probably want to. And we're coming into lap 126 as we speak. So we're almost 3/4 in. We're about 2/3 of the race in. Weishart still in front. Travis McDaniel trying to make up for lost ground. He's trying to work his way toward Jeff Hollingsworth in 3rd position here. There you have him, the 97 car in a beautiful Coast Guard livery. And Brad Suggs is about 1.5 seconds ahead of Hollingsworth. He's running strong in 2nd position. And the gap to the leader is about 2.3 seconds now. It looks like Weishart's got stuff under control here. Let's take a look at Travis McDaniel in the number 2 car. And that's about the closest we've got on the track right now. This is Todd Guess in 5th position. The yellow car behind him is Patrick Howard. He's shown 6 laps down. 10 laps from the leader, 6 laps from the guy in front of him, and that would be Chad Martin in the 41. And it looks like Suggs is not able to stay with Weishart. It looks like he's about 0.2 of a second slower per lap. So Weishart picking up. Last lap they were fairly equal, both at 23.1. But it looks like David Weishart's got stuff under control. And as I say that, he wiggles coming up turn 4. And we're looking lap 130. We've got about 50 laps or so on these tires. So I'm sure that they're not feeling brand new anymore. Hopefully he learned his lesson early in the race, and he'll be able to keep it under control. Same thing for Travis McDaniel. Learned the hard way that it can be a little bit unpredictable. And Travis McDaniel is now about 3 seconds behind Hollingsworth. Looks like Garrett Grant is catching up to Todd Guess, going underneath him out of turn 4. Picking up a position, taking over the 5th spot. Still side by side. Todd Guess is not giving up, trying to high side, trying to stay alongside. Back marker is going to be a factor. The number 12 car might be in his way. Garrett Grant picks up 5th position even before they get to the number 12 car. So Garrett Grant now behind Travis Daniel, about 2.3 seconds between them. Grant back in 5th position, slowly but surely working his way back up. And Hollingsworth about 1.5 seconds behind Suggs. It looks like the field is stretching out a little bit further now. And I'm sure all drivers are starting to feel those tires going off a little bit. And they don't want to take the risk of being the next one turning it around. Better safe than sorry, and hope for a yellow. See if you can get some fresh tires, and the closing stages would definitely give them an opportunity if that would happen. I'm not 100% sure what the fuel window is, but I'm sure I'm fairly sure they'll still need to stop before we get to the end of this race. And it looks like the 61 having a little bit of a wiggle there. That's Scott Olson, and he's already been lapped by the leaders. He's going to be lapped by the 97 of Hollingsworth. He's running in 8th position, doing a good job here, pretty steady on in 8th position. Going after Ron Hollifield by about 12 seconds. And behind him, 5 seconds further down, it's James Dewar in the 77 Back the Blue car. And let's go back up to the number 2 car, the 33 of Brad Suggs. Now shown 3.2 seconds behind the leader, coming down the back straightaway. So it looks like David Weishart is pretty firmly in the lead at this point. And looking pretty good. Well, let's take a ride and see what it looks like for him. Pretty much clear sailing at the moment. And he'll be coming up on Ron Holyfield, it looks like. No, that's not Ron Holyfield. That is the 15 of Chris Seidenfaden, putting him a second lap down. Seidenfaden trying to stay with him there for a little bit. But David Weishart's got really, really good. Ooh, when he gets those wheels down below the yellow line, almost gets himself in trouble there. Let's take a look at that. Let's see why that happens. It looks like he's a little loose coming in the turn. He saves it, but he almost gets himself in trouble with those left wheels on the apron. But this time he's not getting caught out. He kept that car going in the right direction. But let me tell you, that's a warning sign for David Weishart. You better be careful. Those tires are not new anymore. And don't push it, my friend. 3.1 seconds on Brad Suggs in second position. Well, let's take a look at how Brad is doing. He's kind of left that idea of staying high in 3 and 4, it looks like. And coming down low to the lower groove in turn 1 and 2. Well, let's go with him and see how he does in turn 3 and 4. Yeah, he's not staying high there anymore. He's keeping it low now. And then further back, about 1.3 seconds behind Suggs, we have Jeff Hollingsworth in the 97 car. And let's stay with him and see how he's doing. He looks to be pretty solid on that lower line. A little bit of a wiggle coming off turn 2 into 3, hugging that yellow line at the entry, and then on the gas down the main straightaway. Looking pretty solid at this point. And it definitely looks like Travis McDaniel is gaining on him. He's less than a second behind Hollingsworth now. McDaniel in 4th position. And he's been working his way back through the field after his little mishap right before, what was it, lap 79. And he's closing in on Hollingsworth, it looks like. He's down to a half a second now. Hollingsworth working traffic. And that might help Travis a little bit. They're going past the 41 of Chet Martin. Martin is being shown 4 laps down from the leader. And it looks like Travis is gaining on the 97 car. They're dealing with the number 15 of Seidenfaden at this point. Seidenfaden staying high, giving the guys room to race. I really think the back markers are doing an awesome job of being respectful to the faster guys who are fighting for position. Travis McDaniel now closing in on Jeff Hollingsworth. This is the fight for 3rd and 4th position. He's going underneath him into turn 1. Can he make it stick? Yeah, it looks like Hollingsworth really doesn't have that much for him in defense. So Travis McDaniel worked his way back up to the 3rd position. He's looking very, very solid. He's already pulling a car length or 2 on Jeff. and he's in hot pursuit now of Brett Suggs, and he's got about 1.3 seconds to make up to get to this car, the green and white 33 of Brett Suggs, holding on strongly to second position up to now, losing some time to Weishard. Weishard is solidly in the lead with a 4.2 second lead, and let me tell you, on a track like this, that is a huge distance. There you see him from the distance, and you can't see his pursuance at all. And if you look at his gearbox, looking off the back bumper of Weishard, there is nobody in sight that's getting close to him. So he is very solidly in the lead, it looks like. And Travis McDaniel already gaining on Brett Suggs. So Travis is not done. He's got a good car. He's got good grip. He's very smooth. Coming off turn 1 and 2 there on the backstretch. And we can ride along with him here for a little bit. There he's looking at Brad Suggs on the main straightaway. Going into turn 1. Staying low, and you can tell by the movement of his hands that he is not fighting that car. He is driving that car, and he's not having to correct that much. He's very smooth, easy on the gas coming off the turns. This is looking pretty good. I can see that he's coming in and gaining on Suggs. You can actually tell he's closing in on him visually. It's under a second now. Coming down the backstretch, very, very smooth. So Travis McDaniel is going to be a threat for Brett Suggs here in just a few moments. And Weishard's lost a little bit of time off his lead, not much, but he's probably kind of consolidating his lead here. Trying not to overdo it. We're talking lap 154 as we speak, so we're 3/4 distance in this race, and I'm sure there's going to be another pit stop for fuel. I doubt that we can make it all the way to the end. I'm not exactly sure what the window is. I would have to admit that. So Travis McDaniel is now, it's about a half a second gap towards Suggs. The 12 is looking really strong. The 12 is Nicholas Wing. He is trying to get some of that lost time back. It looks like the 77 of James Dewar is also catching up with Travis McDaniel. That is not for position. They're just trying to get their laps back, and they're looking really, really strong. They may have pitted and be on fresher tires. I missed that. We can probably, we can tell. Todd Guess is pitted on lap 141, and Holyfield is in the pits on lap 148, it looks like. Oh, and we have an incident here with the number 77, and that is James Dewar. Let's back that up a little bit. He's getting really loose in the turn there, coming off of turn 2, and he is actually being caught by Travis McDaniel here. It looks like Travis made some sparks fly. I don't see too much damage. Let's see if we can close in on Travis here for a little bit. A little bit of sheet metal damage. He's fighting that car a little bit now. He's lost ground on Brett Suggs. Most certainly, it's now 2.5 seconds. So yeah, there's guys pitting under green, and it looks like Howard pitted, Wing pitted, Dewar pitted, Holyfield pitted, and Todd Guess is pitted. So we'll have to see and wait for the leaders. And watch out for them coming in the pits. Green flag pit stops. We're talking lap 158 going into 159. So we're getting to the final stages of this race slowly but surely. Unfortunately, Travis got caught out there by and we have a yellow flag, and that's good news for the leaders. That is good news for the leaders. Let's see if we can figure out what's going on. It is Seidenfaden that's coming. It's a little weird what happens here. He's coming off turn 2. It looks like he's suddenly deciding to go into the pits, or maybe back locking up the rear brakes, but he suddenly makes a left turn, a little bit hard to explain. Maybe he wanted a late moment pit entry and saw that go wrong. So he's rolling into the pit with damage right now. It's Weishart closing in slowly behind the pace car. We have Brad Suggs in second position, Travis McDaniel, and all these guys that hadn't pitted yet, they are going into the pits as we speak. Weishart, Suggs, McDaniel, and Hollingsworth is also coming in the pit, although he pitted fairly... No, he's coming in the pit. It's Garrett Grant coming in the pit, and Todd Guess is staying out. He's already pitted and hoping... Oh, he's trying to catch up with the back end here. Not sure what happened to Todd. And these guys are behind. It looks like Todd had a wave around. All right, let's see them coming off of pit road here. David Weishart coming out. Brett Suggs coming out, and Travis McDaniel, and that's in the same order that they came in, so nothing gained, nothing lost. Jeff Hollingsworth, Garrett Grant coming out of the pits. So these guys are pretty much in the same order, and it looks like David Weishart picks up that lead as he headed. Now we're all on fresh tires, and we have less than 40 laps to go, 39 to be exact. So we're going to see a race to the finish, hopefully, and it's going to be close. I don't think this is over just yet. So Weishart in the lead. He's got two back markers in front of him. They'll be waved around before we get going. It's Brad Suggs in second. It's Travis McDaniel in third. Jeff Hollingsworth still in fourth. Garrett Grant worked his way slowly but surely back up to fifth position. It's Todd Guess coming off pit road now. He is in sixth position. Scott Olson, it looks like everybody decided to go for fresher tires. And Holyfield back out. Dewar, they're all coming back out. It looks like everybody picked up fresh tires, and that way we can have a race to the finish on the final set. So Weishart in the lead, awaiting the one to go sign, and it gives us a moment to catch our breath. Good race. Very good race so far. David having to come back from an early mistake. Brought it back to the lead, and it looks like he's the man to beat in this race at this point. But now we're all on equal terms again. We all got fresh tires. We all got our tanks full of fuel. So it'll be interesting to see what Brad Suggs and Travis McDaniel... And also don't forget about Jeff Hollingsworth. I think he's been running pretty strong. He's not taking big chances, and we haven't seen him in man-to-man battle so much, but he's been hanging with the leaders fairly strongly. So I'm thinking he's not done either. So on the back stretch, we're lining them up side by side. We've got the one to go sign from the pit stand. The lights on the pace car are out. So let's take a look at the field here from a distance and see what's going on. It'll be up to David to get the party going again. And he's on the throttle a little bit too hard, almost loses it. And that gives Brad Suggs the chance to catch up with him. He was trying to get a jump, but he didn't really get that jump. It's Travis McDaniel picking up second position because of that. Suggs is kind of lucking out on that higher side. There we go. Travis McDaniel challenging Weishart for the lead. Suggs now being challenged by Garrett Grant also. It looks like Garrett Grant has found his groove really quickly after this restart. And Suggs is holding him off. He's on the higher line, but Grant on the lower side. Oh, and Suggs almost loses it. Scrapes the wall. Loses a lot of speed. Garrett Grant getting by in third position. And Todd Guess hanging in there right behind Suggs as well, trying to benefit from that little mishap. And it looks like something happened to Garrett Grant, because Suggs really reels him in sudden and quickly. Let's see in the replay if we can see what happens to Garrett Grant. Oh, he gets it sideways right in the middle of the front stretch. That is weird, because they're already on the gas. It should that's fresh tires probably. He's not got those tires, those rear tires on temperature. All right, so back live, he's hanging on to third position. It's Weishart in front with Travis McDaniel chasing him down. A couple of car lengths between those guys. Let's take a look back here. It's Suggs in fourth now. He's being challenged by Todd Guest. Todd Guest taking the position from him, going for the fourth position here. So Suggs dropping back a little bit. Maybe that car's damaged more than we can see. He scraped the outside wall there for a little bit. He's definitely got some sheet metal damage, but I don't think that's enough to slow him down all that much. Aero is really not a huge factor on a track like this. We're not going fast enough for that to be a big factor. So Hollingsworth, like I said, he's just hanging in there. He's running his laps. He may not be at the same pace as the leaders, but he's hanging in with the leaders pretty good. Still on the lead lap. And let's go back up front here. Travis McDaniel, and about the same distance behind Weishart for the lead here. And it looks like Grant is pulling away from Todd in the number one car, and he's trying to catch up with Weishart and McDaniel and trying to make that lead, the fight for the lead, a three-way battle. And it looks like Todd Guess still has Brad Suggs behind him. They seem to be equally matched here, and Hollingsworth almost losing it off of turn two. Those tires seem to take their time to come in. It looks like. Also the same thing for Todd. This is a high-powered car, and it's easy to spin the tires coming off any turn. And Todd Guess is hanging on to that fourth position, but only just. Brad Suggs and Hollingsworth staying with him. And it looks like Suggs and Hollingsworth are a little bit stronger than Todd at this point. They just have to find their way past. And it looks like Travis McDaniel is a little over half a second now behind Weishart. Maybe that front end damage is hurting him a little bit. We saw him run into the 77 car earlier, causing that caution. And Weishart in the lead. Seems to be doing fairly strong. Garrett Grant looks to be closing in on McDaniel and definitely increasing the gap to Todd Guess in fourth position. And Todd is still having to deal with Suggs, although Suggs has dropped back a few car lengths here. Suggs and Hollingsworth for fifth position and sixth position. And they are the last guys on the lead lap. And then it's Scott Olson further back. He's a lap down. And Chris Seidenfaden has gone to the pit. Patrick Howard has gone to the pit. They seem to be out of contention. Weishart strong in the lead. Travis McDaniel following in second position. And the distance seems to be about the same right now, about 7/10 of a second, and it looks like Garrett Grant is gaining somewhat on Travis McDaniel. I can't help but wonder if that front end damage is hurting him a little bit, pushing that nose down into the turns. He is in clean air, and that could be a factor. And Grant, it's a little on and off. Sometimes he gains a little bit in a turn, and sometimes he loses a little bit in a turn. They seem to be fairly equally matched up here. And about the same kind of a distance back towards Todd Guess, and Todd still has Brett Suggs right behind him. It looks like Hollingsworth has dropped back a little from these guys. It's about a second and a half for him. And we are going into, we are in lap 180 at this point, so When he passes the line, we'll have another 20 laps to go, and they'll be counting down pretty quick at 22 seconds per lap. So McDaniel, it looks like McDaniel does have a little bit of trouble keeping up with Weishart, and it looks like Garrett Grant is gaining. It's not much, but it looks like he is gaining about a tenth of a second per lap. These guys are very, very evenly matched, I can tell you that. And if it's that close, then I would not be surprised if that front end damage on the car of Travis McDaniel is making that little bit of a difference that allows Garrett Grant to catch up with him. So let's check back here with Todd Guess. It looks like Brad Suggs has dropped back a few car lengths now, and Hollingsworth hanging in at about 1.3 seconds. And the guys further back, we have James Dewar here. He's a lap down from Holyfield. Chad Martin is a lap down from Dewar, so they look like they're close, but they're not. They still have a lot of ground to make up. It's been a tough race for these guys. Back up front, McDaniel, a little bit over a second now from Weishart. It looks to me like Weishart's got this stuff under control. And although he almost messed up on the restart there, he looks like he's pretty strong. Those tires are coming in now. They're warming up. I'm sure they're feeling good now. The track's been rubbered up for about 185 laps now, so I'm sure he's feeling very confident. And he's extending that lead slowly but surely. And Garrett Grant has put real effort into closing that gap to Travis McDaniel, but it looks like that is somewhat stagnating on about half a second, a little bit more than that. And it looks like Todd Guess has found some new wind here, trying to catch back up with Garrett Grant. And Brad Suggs is hanging with him, about 2 car lengths behind, but that's been like that for a few laps now, so he's hanging in there as well. And Hollingsworth looks like he is dropping back a little bit further. He's now 2 seconds behind Suggs, and it looks like it's a little bit harder for him to keep up. He's about 5 seconds behind the leader, so he's still on the lead lap, and he will be for quite some time. And let's go back up here to David Weishart in the number 4 car, strongly in the lead, 1.6 seconds ahead. Travis McDaniel in second place now. Garrett Grant in third. Oh, we have a yellow. Let's see what we can find out about what's going on here. It's the number 12 car of Nicholas Wing and the 61 coming together there. Let's back that up a little bit further. It looks like the 12 just loses it, and the 61 really has no place to go and hits him in the side there. So, and then there looks like there's another car that is also hitting him. I missed that here. I can't see which car that is, but it looks like the 12 has also been hit. It could have been the 41. Let's see if it was. No, it was not the 41. Can't tell. All right. So back under yellow. 11 laps to go, and this is interesting. Everybody coming into the pits. I am fairly sure that'll be tires only. They should have been able to do this on fuel. But it looks like everybody wants new rubber, because this is going to be a dash for the cash, obviously. When they go out, it'll be lap 191, so there'll be 10 laps to go, and even less before we go green. The four coming out of the pits first. It's the 42 coming out of the pits second. That's Garrett Grant. Let's see where the other guys come out. Weishart still shown in first, and it looks like Garrett Grant maybe only took 2 tires to gain that position on Travis McDaniel. Let's see if we can spot that in the pit. No, he's taken all four. He definitely took all four. You could tell the car went up on both sides. So he took all four, did a better job at the pit stop than Travis McDaniel. It's close, and the pit spot can be a factor there. So at this point, we have David Weishart in the lead. It's Garrett Grant after the pit stop moving up to second place. It's Travis McDaniel in third. And it looks like Brett Suggs came off pit road a little bit better than Todd Guess. He's now in fourth position, Todd in fifth. Hollingsworth hanging on to sixth position there. And it looks like Hollyfield has gotten his lap back. So he is now in the seventh spot, and he is back on the lead lap. Let's see, it looks like Nicholas Wing is either still in the pits or staying there. Hard to tell. The 41 is back out. He will get the wave around here shortly. And Seidenfaden has given up before this. And it looks like, let me see, the 12. He's still in the pits. He might not be going back and calling it a day. Too much damage probably, or a car not running straight anymore, and then he'd just be a big factor messing up the rest of the field. So back up front, the one lap to green has come. The lights on the pace car are out. We are talking going into lap 193. So we have 8 laps to race. And that could be an interesting race between Weishart and Grant and Travis McDaniel. All three drivers have shown very good pace and been very solid. Both Weishart, Grant, and all three of them really had to work their way back. So let's take a look here as they're coming on to turn 3 and 4. The pace car will be going in, and hopefully Weishart can keep it together this time coming off turn 4. There we go. Weishart gets a little bit of a jump here. The 42 following in second position, and it looks like Travis McDaniel got taken by surprise here. It's Suggs in third. McDaniel now underneath Suggs there in the distance. Hope you can see that. And Suggs is in third position, and it's McDaniel now running a little high and losing a spot to Jeff Hollingsworth, side by side coming down the main straight. Brad Suggs has actually gone in second place, and it looked like Grant was a... Oh, it looks like Grant loses it here. Let's back it up a little bit further. Travis Grant in the 42 car, coming off turn 4. He gets on the throttle too early, cold tires, he loses it, and that was pretty much all she wrote. So Brett Suggs, I apologize, he is picking up second position, and Travis McDaniel is in third. Jeff Hollingsworth is in fourth. So back up live here, the pace car coming out in front of David Weishart. And let's see if we can see what happened, if Grant can continue. It doesn't look like he damaged at all, and that's the second time that happened. And he's still running, and he looks fairly clean. I don't see any sheet metal bent up on any part of that car. But it does look like he's going into the pit and probably gets himself a fresh set of tires. He's overheated those tires, stepping on the gas, turning it around probably. So Garrett Grant, 7th position, taken to the pit. He'll have to start from the back end of the field. And we'll see what he can do. Yeah, right side tires being changed. And left side tires also. So he's taken 4 new tires. And he'll be at the back of the pack. He'll be on the lead lap for sure. Well, as I say that, I'm starting to doubt what I'm saying here, because he is still in the pits. And it looks like... No, they're passing start-finish right now, so he should stay on the lead lap. Garrett Grant is catching up to the tail end of the field, coming down the back stretch here, and it looks like Chad Martin is now in 8th. He's the first driver not on the lead lap. James Dewar hanging on in 9th, Olsen in 10th, and it looks like Nicholas Wing has indeed abandoned the race, so he will not be coming back after that spin in the number 12 car. So back up front, it's Dave Weishart trying to get some heat in those tires here, going left and right. And Brad Suggs is in second position in the 33. It is Travis McDaniel in third place, Jeff Hollingsworth in fourth, Todd Guess is in fifth, Ron Holyfield in sixth, Garrett Grant is shown in seventh position here. And since we're so close to the end, I think they're going to have the back markers drop down. I'm not sure if they do that in NASCAR. They usually do that in IndyCar. Maybe not. Because it looks like he is right behind Holyfield. I don't see any lap drivers. The first lap driver would be Chad Martin, and he's behind here. So I'm not sure if they were purposely brought to the back, but it looks like the lead lap drivers are all together in a string here. So that's good news for Garrett Grant. Maybe he can pick up some positions once the green flag flies. So we might be looking at a green-white checker because we're already on lap 199. So we're going to have some laps added to this race. Yes, definitely. One lap to green, and we'll have a green-white checker. And we'll be doing up to 3 of those today. So if they can't make it work the first time, we'll get a couple of second chances. So coming on down to the backstretch here, double file. Yes, all the lead lap drivers are together there. Suggs in second, Hollingsworth third. I'm sorry, Holyfield is fourth. It's McDaniels that is third. He's on the inside. So there we go. It's up to Weishart. And looks like we have a pretty good start. The number 4 takes the lead. It's Suggs in second position. It's Hollingsworth in third. It's McDaniel in fourth. And it's Todd Guess in fifth here. Coming down the back straight, the whole string of cars here. Dave Weishart in the lead. Brad Suggs, Hollingsworth picked up the position from McDaniel. And it looks like look at that. Grant is already in 6th position, past Holyfield. Todd Guess is now in front of him. No, he's already working on Travis. And it looks like the finish has the checker flag is already waved. I'm sorry, I was too concentrated on Grant here. David Weishart picks up the win. It looks like it's Brad Suggs in second position, and Todd Guess picked up third. Hollingsworth fourth. Grant is in fifth. Sixth place is Ron Holyfield. It's Travis McDaniel in seventh. And Chad Martin in 8th position. And those are the guys that came across the finish line in running order. Don't be fooled by the order you see on the left of your screen there. My scoring program let me down on that final lap here. And it shows the actual positions. But I can tell you it's David Weishart and Brad Suggs, Todd Guest, the top 3 drivers. And we'll be right back and see if we can find some of those guys to talk to. Meanwhile, it looks like Weishart is doing some burnouts here. We see if we can see that. Nope, it won't let us. It won't let us. All right, we'll be right back. Hey, Travis, can you hear me? Travis, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Can you get the top three drivers into the waiting room?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. And we're back here waiting for to see if we can get a word in with David Weishart, the winner of tonight's race. It's been an exciting night for him for sure. After his early mishap and having to work his way back, it looked like for the most part of the race he was in control. And let's see if I can pull him up here. I don't have permission for that. All right, guys,
Yeah.
this is Mark in the booth. I don't have the ability to pull you in the room that I was in, but it's all of us together here now in the waiting room. David Weishart, first of all, congratulations, man. That was an amazing win. It looked like the latter part of the race you had things pretty much in control. After that little mishap early in the race, can you talk us through how that went for you?
Well, on the first hour after I spun out there early, I had a little bit of a tire advantage all the way through the first stage there, so that played a role into that. And then my teammates spun out there, so I was able to get the stage win. Then after that, I mean, for most of the race, I just needed about 15, 20 laps to kind of start pulling away from everybody. So I did really wasn't looking forward to those cautions there at the end, but luckily it all worked out.
Yeah, it looked like not the last restart, but the restart before that. At the end there, you almost lost it, didn't you?
Yeah, I underestimated how much grip there was going to be in the track, and just hammered down and lost it. So, but luckily I was able to gather it back up and keep going.
Well, cool, man. I thought it was a. It looked to me like you were pretty solidly in control for the most part of the race there. So yeah, it all looked very solid. Everybody had their little moments. That includes you, obviously. So congratulations once again. Any thank yous, love yous you want to send out to people?
I just want to thank Travis for putting this league on, and letting everybody come out here and have some fun, and thank my teammates Chris and Garrett from Samson Motorsports.
Well, awesome, man. Your first step towards the next round of the playoffs is in the books. So congratulations once again. And let's move over here to Brad Suggs for second place. You've been running pretty strong with the lead for most of the race. I don't think you had any major problems other than it was just fighting for position.
Yeah, I mean, I knew David was pretty far out there, pretty much checked out, and I just had to hit my marks and try to keep the thing going in the right direction because, as you saw all night long, these things are pretty hard to control.
So most of the race, would you say you were just trying to be safe rather than sorry, and just you were passed a couple of times, you dropped back to like I don't know fifth or something like that mid race, and then every time you would be able to work your way back and get past again. So was it just being more safe than sorry, or how were you on top of your stuff, and was that as fast as it would go?
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to keep it conservative. I mean, we saw late in the going of that first stage, Garrett went for a loop and Travis spun as well in the last lap. So I definitely didn't want to get caught up in that. So I just wanted to keep the car under me and be there for the end.
So on that last restart, if I'm remembering correctly, you were like third or fourth on the restart, so you brought it back up to second. So can you talk us through that last little sprint to the end there?
Yeah, as they say, cautions breed cautions, and so not the very last restart, but one before it, I was able to get a good jump there from P4, got around Travis and I believe one other car, and that put us set up really good for the last restart. And then just trying to hang on a second. I tried to give David a run there for his money, but unfortunately locked up the left front tire entering turn three of the last lap. So congrats to him, though. I mean, he dominated that thing, and just looking on to the next race now, hopefully getting locked into the next round.
Cool, man. Hey, there's one thing I'd like to ask you. For a while there, I think you were battling with it was either Travis or Garrett. I'm not 100% sure if I remember, but it looked to me like you were all the time you were trying to stay low in one and two, and you were running a higher line in three. Was that on purpose? Did you feel you had better grip coming off the turn there, or how did that happen?
Yeah, I remember that. I was actually battling with David when he was trying to get the lead there on me, but I was trying different things and seeing what would work, and at the same time, just trying to play it smart on my end and do what I could to keep him behind me. So I figured running that higher line and turn 3 and 4 would kind of be in my favor. You know, you're struggling to get back on the throttle,
Yeah.
but once he got around me, I was just in for the ride.
You held him off quite long there. I remember that. So anyway, once again, congratulations on the second position. I think a good finish for you. Any love yous, thank yous, or whatnot going out?
Yeah, definitely want to shout out you first and foremost for hopping on board doing these broadcasts. It definitely does not go unnoticed. And everybody that tuned into my stream here on Facebook tonight, appreciate those guys and girls. But and then all my real world sponsors in your IRL racing, we got Custom Matco, Speed Energy, A&A Landscape Supplies, and Brett Suggers Racing Marketing. But yeah, just a great race. Thank everybody for running us clean and going on to the next one.
All right, thank you very much, Brett. And let's move on here to Todd, bringing it home in third position. Todd, congratulations on that. How did the race run for you? It looked to me also like pretty much similar to Brett, that you were somewhat conservative most of the time, and then near the end you kind of found your mojo, so to say.
Yeah, that's right. Uh, that first run we had, I pushed a little too hard, running second there behind Garrett, and just didn't save my stuff the way I needed to, and fell back. I don't know, 20 laps into the run, and the second run I tried to save a little more, and still didn't do a very good job as I fell back a couple spots there. So I pitted a little earlier than everybody else, and was able to get back on the lead lap once that caution came out. Thanks to the lucky dog. So
Yeah.
all in all, it was a good run. I was able to hold on to top five there at the end, and I hate that Travis and I'm not sure who was in front of him. They almost spun. They're all four on the last lap, but I was able to pick up a couple more spots after that, so it all worked out.
All right. Well, all same to you, man. Congratulations. A great race for the viewers. I'm sure. I sure enjoyed myself watching you guys battle for position. I will say that very respectful racing, very clean racing. So awesome job to you too. And any love yous and thank yous you want to send out?
Yeah, all in all, it was a real clean race. It was a lot of fun. It's a challenging track. Got to hit your marks, and there's not much grip, so you got to be careful with that. But yeah, thanks to Travis for the this league that he puts on. He does a great job. Thanks for you coming on board, doing these broadcasts, and thanks for all the people that tuned in tonight. It was a lot of fun, and we'll go on to the next one.
All right, thank you very much, Todd. And I'd like to thank you guys all for taking me on board. It's a great opportunity. I love the racing. The racing is spectacular. It's clean. It's very close. So there's no dull moment for me in the booth here. I can tell you that. So thank you guys also, and we're going to be moving on to one of my favorite tracks, actually, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the next round in the playoffs. And we all hope to see you there. And with that, I would like to thank Travis McDaniel for putting all this up and for bringing me on board as well. And we hope to see you next time in Indianapolis for more racing in the playoffs of the Rivalry Racing Series. Thanks again, everybody, and be safe out there. We'll see you next time.